Spoiler warning. The following discussion will contain spoilers. We recommend checking out the movie first, then coming back to hang with us. But if you don't care about that, glad to have you here.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the 25 Days of Real Christmas, a series where we review some of your old and new holiday favorite classics. My name's Kevin.
And I'm John.
And we are the Real Movie Guys. I got a special episode for you today, guys. I'm going to shut up for once. I know, right? It's a Christmas miracle. Being serious. Today, we're going to be bringing you John's real top 5 Christmas specials. So like I said, I promise I'm going to shut up. John, take away the episode.
When I was thinking about this, there's so many different ways that you can go.
Right.
You could go movies, you could go shows, you could go TV shows. Or what I did was I went for just things that when I was a kid, classics that I remember.
Very cool.
So I'm going to start with my number 5, The Little Drummer Boy. Now this came out in 1968. It's one of those ones that I feel like not as many people have seen.
Right.
But it's a very good classic movie. Mm-hmm. It's about an orphan drummer boy who hated humanity. He finds his life changed forever when he meets the 3 wise men en route to Bethlehem. Now, the main reason that I really enjoy the movie is it tells a good story, but also the music always got to me. I always loved the song The Little Drummer Boy.
Oh, my drum.
And iconic,
the music, the music in this episode, I just feel like was awesome.
Now, what do you think of the animation style? This is an old movie, right? When did you say the little? I know it came out a long time ago, obviously. When did the Little Drummer Boy come out?
1968.
So, do you think it holds? I mean, it looks old by today's standards, for sure. But in 1968, I feel like that's incredibly impressive what they're able to get done with the puppet work that they use in this movie.
You never heard a lion laugh. You never saw a gator grin. A goose in a gaggle never gives a giggle. Why can't the animal smile?
Oh yeah, I think it. I mean, it's obviously it's not as great as what we have today.
Right.
But
right.
I still think it holds weight to it. I also like the old style of it too.
I do too.
Because I feel like it shows you how far we've come, but how good they've done. They also did it back then too.
No, I agree with you 100%. And the weird thing I always found about this movie is this is a Christmas movie, obviously, but it's more of a religious Christmas movie.
What is it, Baba? Samson? The star? Yes. The kings were following that star. If we follow it, we are sure to catch up with them. Come, quickly!
Now, do you see it as that, John? You know, we're not super religious guys overall. Now, does that impact your enjoyment of the film? Or do you think that would impact like another audience member's enjoyment of the film, depending on how religious they were?
I don't think so. I feel like it's doesn't really matter the religion as long as you can connect with the story in a way.
Right. It is a timeless classic, yeah.
I don't think that religion plays that much into this movie, enjoyment of this movie.
Okay. No, that's I'm glad that you say that. I find that too. I think it is a classic timeless story, right? Essentially just the idea of the gift of giving, someone giving something they don't have, to somebody else.
Your gift, little drummer boy, given out of the simple desperation of a pure love, is the one favored above all. See?
Aaron's heart was filled with joy and love. And he knew at last that the hate he had carried there was wrong, as all hatred will ever be wrong.
If you can connect onto it with that level, I think that's really impressive. And, The Little Drummer Boy is a classic for a reason. It holds up, undoubtedly. Does it look old, like you said? Yeah, but I don't think that affects anyone's enjoyment of it. At least, especially our age group. This was on, what was that, ABC, NBC, one of those, right? With all it was on rotation with all the other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's still good. It still holds up. I agree with you, John. That's a good choice. I like your number 5.
My number 4 movie is Mickey's Christmas Carol. Now, this movie was released in 1983. Another old classic one. It's just pretty much the retelling of A Christmas Carol, but with Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and all the other Fab Five and stuff.
Oh, my favorite characters in this. Scrooge McDuck.
£50, 10 shillings from Macduff, plus his 80% interest, compounded daily. Money, money, money.
All our
Scrooge
DuckTale fans out there. I love Scrooge McDuck. And this was an instant classic on my TV, too.
This also has Wayne Allman, who played Mickey Mouse in this.
Oh, okay.
Be here all the earlier the next day.
I will, sir. And a bah humbug. I mean, a Merry Christmas to you, sir.
It's just one of those great Disney retelling with like, and I feel like it also helps with Mickey Mouse and them being in it. I feel like it almost makes it more of a happy tale too.
Yeah, you could argue it makes it more like family accessible, right? That story, because it could be even in Mickey's Christmas Carol, I think it is pretty dark at times, from what I remember.
Is this?
Why, yours, Ebenezer. The richest man in the cemetery.
Please. No.
Like, there are some like little dark moments, but I mean, you have like, I think Jacob Marley's played by, was it Goofy?
Gosh, kind of slippery.
Goofy.
Right? I'm pretty sure. It's been a while. To those at home, I didn't watch these before. I'm just as surprised at you when we get to John's picks. But yeah, I like Mickey's Christmas Carol.
It's also good with Clarence Nash doing Donald Duck.
Nephew.
Uncle Scrooge.
I'm looking forward to that wonderful meal of yours.
You mean you're coming?
Of course I am. You know how much I like candied fruits with spiced sugar cakes.
He's always done Donald.
Right.
He's done Donald Duck for so long. He's amazing at it. But this whole movie, I feel like, was just one of the movies that you've seen The Christmas Carol, but then watching this one also makes you enjoy it a lot more.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Scrooge.
Merry Christmas, Bob.
And God blesses everyone.
Right. How would you recommend people to watch this? Like, if you have younger kids like you do, would this be one of the ones you would show them first before other adaptations? Would this be like maybe one of the first ones you try out and see how it goes?
Yeah, this would be probably the first one I would try out, and then the next one I would try out would be the newest A Christmas Carol from Disney. Number 3 on my list is Frosty the Snowman. Came out in 1969. It's pretty much a snowman who these kids make one day, and magically the snowman comes to life. This magic hat comes from this magician. The hat blows onto his head, and he comes alive and goes, "Happy birthday!"
Happy birthday!
This whole movie about this snowman, like his little adventure where they're trying to get him to the North Pole, and the magician just wants his hat back, but they know if Frosty loses his hat, then he doesn't live. So the whole adventure of him trying to get back to the North Pole and them going through all this stuff. And one of the funniest parts, I feel like, of this movie is really when Frosty first comes to life and they're walking down like the street, and the guy's like, stop, don't you understand what stop
like bugging
means?
out.
Yeah.
Stop!
And he's like, what is this, like the first time you've been to life? And he's like, actually, yes, it is. Or the one guy who's blowing the whistle and the whistle gets stuck in his throat and he just starts whistling.
Oh, well, okay, if he just came to life. Move along! That silly snowman. Once they come to life, they don't know nothing. Come to life?
One of my favorite scenes is like the most awkward scene I could think of in this movie, when they're trying to pick the name of Frosty. I don't know why it took me so long to realize this. It's really weird. When they're trying to pick out the name of Frosty, they're going to like Bob, whatever the names are, and then suddenly there's like this weird audio cutout if you really listen to it, and they're saying the names. He goes,
What'll we call him? Yeah, shall we call him Harold?
Bruce? Oh, Bert. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's like this really deep like voice going, Bert. What is that? That's not a kid. It's so random. I don't know. And it's funny because like this is a classic for sure. Like you said, this has been on TV a million times, and it's kind of cheap in some ways, right? They use a lot of cost cutting measures with animation that we saw from classic Disney too. Looking at you, Robin Hood, the animated film, Jungle Book. They recycle a lot of the animation, but for what it was made on, the TV special budget, I'm sure you had to. That was like a cost-cutting measure. But it still works, right? It's short. It's to the point. Doesn't outstay its welcome. It captures that holiday spirit. Think of a character more iconic than Frosty the Snowman for children. It's kind of tough. I mean, there are some, but he's up there.
But he waved goodbye, saying, "Don't you cry."
I'll be back on Christmas Day.
Well, yeah, and also I feel like this is the one where the narrator doesn't bother me as much in this movie as it does in other movies.
You're right. Yeah, the narrator's a little like annoying. Like, stop being so intrusive on everybody's business there. Yeah, this one he kind of took a couple steps back, right?
And with Frosty the Snowman, Christmas was always very merry indeed. You have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, like don't tell me what I'm watching. I can see, all right?
Right.
But
No,
like in this one, there he seems kind of normal.
something magical about a snowman coming to life. Quite literally,
Yes.
there's something magical about it. Quick fun fact also, the second Frosty the Snowman, I think it's Frosty Returns. They made that animated movie. The voice of Patrick from SpongeBob is the voice of Frosty. I kind of see that when you really look at Frosty, the way he looks, the way he talks. I get that. I get that connection. That works for me. Not as good as this one, though. Not as good as this one.
My number 2 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's weird for me to watch, like when I watched this movie from when I was a kid, I remember it. And now rewatching it again and everything, it almost gives like a different take on it. Like this one is like the retelling of how Rudolph became to lead Santa's sleigh.
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?
It will be an honor, sir.
And the weird thing for me in this one is
Right.
it tells you a bunch of stories. It tells you about Hermie the elf. He wants to become a dentist.
Love
and
it.
shows like how they make fun of him for wanting to be something different, where he's an elf and all he should be doing is making toys.
Right.
But he tells them, no, I want to become a dentist.
I just thought I found a way to fit in.
You'll never fit in. Now, you come to elf practice and learn how to wiggle your ears and chuckle warmly and go hee-hee and ho-ho and important stuff like that. A dentist. Good grief.
And then you got Rudolph, who's laughed at and shamed for being different in this movie.
Look at the bee. Look at the bee. Hey, fire, Snow.
Hey, Ballpoint! Hey, Snap! Stop calling me names!
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
You would have thought like they would love Rudolph because you would think like he was loved no matter what and all the time. And then you got the abominable snowman in this.
Now, calm down. Calm down. I reformed this bumble. He wants a job. Looky what he can do.
There's a lot of classic icons, I would say, in this movie.
Well, yeah, you got Yukon Cornelius. You got my boy in there.
Yeah, love Yukon
looking
Cornelius.
for silver and gold, you know?
This is my land. And you know, it's rich with gold. Gold! Gold and silver. Silver and gold.
Gotta love that. When he's licking the ice pick when he stabs it into the rock.
Nothing.
He's like
Well, yeah, and
tasting
then
it for the gold. Like, that's classic. Classic.
Well, yeah, and then they go to the island of misfit toys where
Right.
they go.
Mhm.
But I thought it was also an interesting, like, it almost showed you an interesting take. Santa not being as happy and jolly in a
Mhm.
way.
Well, let's get this over with. I have to go down and look over the new deer.
It kind of shows a different take on that,
Yeah,
which
and
I thought was kind of interesting.
I like that. That's a good perspective that you brought up. I don't think many people really address that, especially in holiday movies. We definitely don't get that addressed as often as you would think. All these TV specials, for some reason, I feel like I like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I like the music the most in that movie. The music in that one, there's only one other song that maybe oversteps all the others, and that's in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the one foot in front of the other song. For some reason, I can't forget that song. I don't care. Whatever you say, I can't forget it. But Rudolph, I like all the music, like the Island of Misfits Toys song. I really like that song.
When Christmas Day is here, the most wonderful day of the year.
I'm not singing it. Don't ask. I'm not doing it. I really like that song, and I just really like the characters. I love Hermie is a great character, wanting to be a dentist, and it's fun to see like Elf kind of drew inspiration from this TV special the most too. When we talk about Elf on Christmas Eve, that's going to be a lot of fun too. I think they had some trouble too with like potential lawsuits and stuff like that. They had to change things. I don't know what happened. We'll talk about it when we get to that review. But Rudolph is a great movie. I mean, the song is iconic, right? They made it's kind of like how we talked about 8 Crazy Nights a little bit, where they made a movie out of a song. I mean, they did a good job this time. Maybe not your opinion, but maybe not your opinion, but they did a good job this time. They took that classic Rudolph song and they made a compelling tale that most people, if not, I should say all children, would consider this like Rudolph's backstory. This is where we go.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glowed.
It's fun to see how it had like impact in the years past. Like, how many times have you seen Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer like parodied or even referenced? A good example would be our Nightmare Before Christmas video with Zero being literally the Rudolph of Halloween Town.
Yeah.
Again, it's crazy to see how like that little story, that little claymation story, still holds up amazing today.
Now for my number 1 movie, slow drum roll. I picked A Charlie Brown Christmas from 1965. I feel like this is one movie where every year I have to watch. It's always on TV, but just even if it wasn't on TV, I bought it so I could watch it all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that's one of those classic movies that you always think about. When you think about Christmas, you always think about Charlie Brown's Christmas.
I mean, what's more iconic?
That you just love, and it's a great movie. I feel like I don't think I've ever met somebody who doesn't like this movie.
Not even that, like the iconic scenes from this. I mean, the iconics, the Peanuts waltz is in this movie. I believe this was the first time it was implemented. I don't know if there was another. This probably was the first Charlie Brown piece of media that came out that wasn't comic strip. I could be wrong. Don't attack me. I apologize. This is John's video, so attack him. Don't attack me. The Charlie Brown Christmas tree. That's like a saying now. Yeah.
I've killed it. Oh, everything I touch gets ruined.
If you see someone with a crappy tree, you're like, oh, you got a Charlie Brown Christmas tree this year, I guess. Like that's how like ingrained in culture this movie is. And what do you think makes it so special? Because if you look at it now, we'll be realistic. I talked a little bit when you brought up Frosty. I said, oh, look at the recycled animation, being a little snob there, a little on my nose. But this one, you have to admit that the animation's quite recycled, quite a bit. So that being set aside, what do you think's so appealing about this movie?
Well, I think like the storytelling and just the funny scenes that it has. Like, there's one scene when she's given like psychiatric help and stuff for like 5 cents.
Well, as they say on TV, the mere fact that you realize you need help indicates that you are not too far gone.
Charlie Brown just comes over and starts yelling at her, and it's like just like funny scenes like that in this movie, and like just Linus with his blanket.
And get rid of that stupid blanket. What's a Christmas shepherd gonna look like holding a stupid blanket like that? Well, this is one Christmas shepherd who's going to keep his trusty blanket with him. See? You wouldn't hit an innocent shepherd, would you?
Just Charlie Brown always trying to help people, but nobody really trying to help him out. I feel like always it's just a great thing. I feel like this movie does it so well. And I also feel like it does Charles M. Short's like justice with this movie.
My own dog gone commercial. I can't stand it. Oh.
Yeah, and it's great.
I felt like it was one of those great movies. And one of my all-time favorite movies would be this one.
Oh, I'd have to agree, man. I mean, it's interesting to see just how they took Charles Schultz's comic and brought it to life. Because if you look at panels of Charlie Brown, there's jokes that were in there, like the football and the psychiatric help and the Schroeder on the piano.
Oh, no. You don't get it at all. I mean jingle bells. You know, Santa Claus and ho, 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 and mistletoe and presents to pretty girls.
Pigpen, all those classic characters from the 60s, just they're to life. That comic strip is literally to life in this movie. Another movie that did that really well was also the Charlie Brown movie that came out. Remember that CGI movie? That movie never gets talked about. We really should review that on the channel at some point, because that's an excellent movie as well that does not get enough credit, to just bringing these classic characters to life. And the only argument that I see some people make against Peanuts is the strong religious overtones, which I think there are, maybe not as much as Little Drummer Boy, because that's literally a retelling of a Bible story. But, to me personally, and not being a very religious person, but having experience with religion, Linus giving that speech, at the play, just talking about Christmas and the 3 wise men and giving the gift.
And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God, and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
That's like an iconic Christmas speech. That like encapsulates something special about Christmas. And then just the singing at the end of this movie, perfect.
Yeah, I also think that this is one of those movies, though, that everybody can enjoy, and you can get a lot of laughs out of it, too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is Christmas Eve, Christmas Day classic for sure. Either one. I try to watch it on one of those days, because this is the Christmas spirit. I think if any Christmas special we'll talk about, Charlie Brown Christmas definitely encapsulates Christmas for sure.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown! Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
But that will conclude my list of top 5 of my thing. Of course, you're going to be looking.
Yeah, I guess that was a good choice, though, man. Yeah, you got mine coming. Oh boy, wait till you see what I did, guys.
Wait till you. Just wait till you see what he pulls out of the bag for this one.
I guess you'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be a surprise. There's only one thing left to do, really, though, in this video. Do you know what that is?
What?
John? Where can the people find us at home?
You can find us to eventually hear Kevin's top 5 and listen to this. You can find us on YouTube. The Real Movie Guys on YouTube. You can tell us what your top 5 might be. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the same as Kevin's. I highly doubt it.
Probably not.
Maybe it's the same as mine. Probably not. You can also tweet at us on Twitter at TheReelMovieGuys, Real Movie Guy on Twitter. And you can also listen to us on many podcasting platforms, such as...
Yes, for your listening pleasure, we are also available in podcast form at iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public, and Pocket Casts. Be sure to give us a listen at any of those fine places. If you already are right now, hey, greatly appreciate it. Just search out The Real Movie Guys. We should pop right up. Thank you all again so much for joining us for this episode of The Real Top 5. My name's Kevin. That guy over there, he's John. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. And don't forget to tune in all this month as holiday festivities continue during the 25 days of Real Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Catch you next time.
Charlie Brown.